Hello science fans, and welcome to SHE-ensya's Corner. Here, we kick back, relax, answer some of your questions, and talk about science events, both great and mundane, in the life of your resident Filipino scientist. It's November 22, science fans. I am Chona Camille Vinci Cruz Abeledo, your resident Filipino scientist, and welcome to episode 8 of SHE-ensya's Corner. So this week in quarantine, I went through a very interesting and very intense workshop. Earlier this year, the National Academy of Science and Technology of the Philippines had a call for the 2020 Future Science Leaders Forum. It was an activity designed to help young scientists and researchers in the field of STEM to maximize their leadership potential in their respective fields, and to provide a venue for networking, collaboration, and mentoring. It was a 3-day event that tackled topics on innovation, building institutions, developing a culture for research, the importance of collaboration, mentoring, and the role of science and society. Reflection time. Through this 3-day online event, I learned so many things, and it was so comforting to be in a group of people who appreciated the same things about science and was able to understand the impacts of science to the improvement of society. But I was also deathly afraid that we were in an echo chamber where we gloriously listened to each other while the rest of those who needed to listen remained deaf to our calls and pleas. And it kept on bothering me. How? How exactly do we communicate science to a society where sharing new information can be so easily described as being pabibo? And how do we communicate science to society without sounding condescending or superior or angry or frustrated? But you know what? There was a secret theme, an undercurrent that was common across all the talks that was given during this workshop. And this was to have the courage to ask for what you need.
For about the 5 years after graduating from an upstanding liberal arts university, this was my day job. I think people have been obsessed with the wrong question. What if we started asking, how do we let people pay for music?
And I realized that the concept was actually familiar to me because I've heard it before from Amanda Palmer, an amazing shiro who's also an artist, a musician, and a writer who has been telling the world for so many years now that we should not fear to ask for help. A lot of people, including myself, or especially myself, are afraid to ask for help because it exposes us and makes us vulnerable. When I ask for help, I'm afraid that people will judge me for being ignorant, for not knowing what to do on my own. But at the end of the day, even if we do all the reading and all the studying and all the research, there really are some things that we need to learn from other people directly. And if we don't ask for help, then we will remain ignorant, which is much, much worse than any kind of judgment that will go my way. When I ask for help, I'm afraid that people will see that I am weak and unable to change my situation. And as a woman, I'm afraid to show weakness because it challenges the notion that I am an empowered woman. I should be independent, right? I should be able to do things on my own, right? But the truth is, nobody can actually do everything on their own. And in order for us to grow and to progress, we actually need help from other people. And the secret is to find the right people who will help you but will not take power from you. And finally, when I ask for help, I'm also afraid that people will reject me because I have nothing that they could want, because I have nothing of value to give back. And I believe this is the hardest fear to grapple with. You know, a lot of us, since we were young, we were pushed towards excellence. And even though it benefited us in a lot of ways, I think, at least for me, until now I'm not sure if I'm ever doing enough, if I ever will be enough. Every day I hear those voices in my head. Sure, you got a perfect score in this exam, but will you be able to get perfect in the next one? Great, you got a scholarship, But will you be able to graduate on time? Wow, you have a high student evaluation this term. But what about next term? You know, sometimes life feels like a constant battle to prove that you're worth something. But I highly doubt if anybody wanted me or anybody else to feel this way. It's just that sometimes I really do wonder if I deserve what I have, or if I will ever have the strength, the energy, the intelligence to deserve what I want in the future. And it's these voices, it's this fear that makes me want to do SHE-ensya, even if it's exhausting, even if I have so little time in the world. Because through SHE-ensya, I create this tiny little space in the world where I can talk about what's interesting for me, where I can share to the world what I find fun and amazing. Like, for example, superheroes, which we talked about in the Why series this week. Comic book writers could have chosen not to write about superheroes. But these writers were keen observers of human nature. And they were able to translate these observations into captivating stories that reflect our capacity for heroism by tapping the most important superpower of all, empathy. It was fun doing the research on the psychology behind the superhero genre, real-life superpowers, and also the opportunity to reflect on, although I don't think I will ever have superpowers, I wonder if I can also be a hero to someone, even to just my cats. Science fact! Whenever I teach genetics or cell biology, we mostly discuss genetic disorders, which creates this notion that most, if not all mutations, would lead to something undesirable. But isn't it also true that mutations allowed us to evolve from single-celled organisms to these amazing, complex, confusing species that we are now? So, I don't know, hopefully someday I could also study mutations that would allow us to evolve to become superhumans. Another thing that I love about SHE-ensya is it gives me the opportunity to learn about science beyond the research that I actually do. And it forces me to talk to people. This is particularly true when I'm developing content for the What It's Like series. And just this week, I got to meet 3 amazing heroes who have dedicated a portion of their lives to STEM and its promotion.
Hello, science fans! I am Noah Shen Dating Ginoo. I am an educator who's currently teaching in a private school in Muntinlupa since 2018, and I'm currently taking a degree program of MS Biology in De La Salle University, Manila.
Hello, science fans! I am Jane Peras, and I am a science teacher.
Hello, science fans! I'm Maubar De Leon, and I'm a science teacher. My STEM passion is psychology and ecology.
I remember mentioning before that whenever I edit the videos for the What It's Like series, I get to view more content than I can actually show in a limited period of time. And for this week, there was one of the interviews that caught my attention because it was talking about how STEM was being taught in the K-12 system.
And also most difficult aspect of being a science teacher, sa ibang schools kasi, they have what we call the spiral curriculum. Wherein, in a school year, iba't ibang field of science yung nalalaman nila. Like, 1 quarter earth sci, 1 quarter biology, 1 quarter chemistry, 1 quarter physics. Hindi siya continuous, hindi siya consistent. Unlike in my time, I had the opportunity to learn 1 field of science in 1 school year. So that's why I enjoyed my high school, especially in the field of biology. Yun. So that's sad lang to have or to learn na ganun yung K-12 setup niya. It's spiral. Yung retention ng mga bata, it's somehow limited na rin. Kasi nagjo-jump yung mga topics. Ang nangyayari daw is pahirap lang daw ng pahirap yung mga topics as they go up to the next level or to the next grade.
This was very interesting for me because it wasn't the first time I heard about the limitations or difficulties of the spiral or helical method of education that is being employed today. As a product of the K-10 system, I was taught in a completely different way, and it allowed me to pick and choose the actual STEM subjects that I appreciated more compared to the others. Now, given these observations that have been seen by various students and educators, well, let's just say I'm hoping that the Department of Education could be more open to the feedback of scientists, students, and educators who implement the lessons that they've planned. I mean, even the likes of Dr. Lourdes Cruz, a national scientist and founder of the Future Earth movement, mentioned during the NAST workshop that I was in that they've been trying to get in touch with the Department of Education to help create modules or help improve the modules about science for the youth. And I just wish that we can be more proactive rather than reactive or defensive when it comes to the education of our youth, or, basically everything else. And with that, we move on to Q&A. A question that popped up asked about what I thought of the Untitled Goose game on Switch. In so many words, it was such a funny game. The goose actually reminded me of our youngest cat, Ching Ching. She's so subtle, I don't think she means anything bad, or I think she means well most of the time, but she's just so naughty that she would end up terrorizing everyone in the house, including her older, bigger brothers. And related to that, I was also asked about the other games I played. So there's Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy XII, Final Fantasy XV. But to be completely honest, I'm more of a backseat player myself. I've watched my then boyfriend, current husband, play The Witcher, God of War, Breath of the Wild, and so many other games. And that's why one of my favorite YouTube channels would be Girlfriend Reviews, because a lot of the games I've experienced is by helping my boyfriend/husband figure his way out in a myriad of games. And that's it for SHE-ensya's Corner this week. Please follow our social media accounts on Facebook and on Instagram. Drop by our website also at www.she-ensya.com. You can also follow my personal IG account at shona.abiledo to look at some photos, musings, and behind the scenes that goes on when we're shooting SHE-ensya. I hope you were able to enjoy and learn something from SHE-ensya's Corner this week. If you did, I hope you can give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to our channel. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to message me, your resident Filipina scientist, in the comments section below. Thank you very much, and see you around!